Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is a Monday and of course it is time for Monday View. The pencils that we're viewing this week that we're going to be using on the channel that we started using on Saturday are the ZenaColor 120, ZenaColor 2 120. The set, I have them in these sleeves. It comes in a tin case and they are a sorry, well, I have one out. They are a thinner barrel, and they are a oil-based pencil. You can see that they have the company name, the color name, as well as the color number on each of the pencils. I have not ever had a whole lot of issues sharpening these pencils. The only issue that I have found looking at my set right now is that I am missing a color and I may have lost it myself. I have had these since 2019. So they are still available on Amazon. When I purchased these, they were regularly priced $19.99 for the 120 set. Now they are regularly priced $29.99 and they are currently on sale for 17% off, which does bring it down to about $24.99, which does work out to be approximately 21 cents a pencil, which is not that bad in today's market. So we have our swatch chart here. It does come with its own swatch chart that is numbered, named, and set out for you. That is all on one page, although it is on back and front. So I prefer them to be all in view at the same time, and that's why I do the swatch charts that I do. I have not redone this one to put it all into the computer. So when I do get that done, I will go through and post that to this video. Hopefully. I just haven't gotten to the Z's yet. So as you can see, it has a great selection of yellows into our peach tones and our oranges. And then we go into our reds. Number 71 that's missing is a red tone, so it would go in between these two here. And then we go into our pinks, into our purples. This one here, I had troubles deciding where it should go. Same with this one here. I think this one here needs to go to this side, and this one here needs to go to that side. So I will move those around in the new swatch chart. And then we have our blues going into our aquatic green colors, into our greens, and our blue greens. This one here as well, and this one here, both of which I would move up top. Into our brown tones and our grays. We do have a couple of metallics here as well, so that's always helpful. And I just dropped something. I don't think it was anything important. So, and as you can see on the bottom here, I have colored in the swatch chart areas, and they did color beautifully. So I know they work well on the cardstock that I use. And for some reason my brain has just gone, I'm not telling you what the cardstock is. I have not done the testing on these, so I have put the testing on there so that we can do our testing. I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera. Now I'm going to do this a little bit different because I want to try to see if it's going to work for us. If it is, then I'll start doing it on all the other swatch charts as well when I get new pencils in. And I will show you what that is in just a moment. So we're going to grab a couple of different pencils here. Let's grab a red. And this one here is vermilion. Let's see. I guess it would help if I looked at my swatch chart which one I want. So I want 72. Which is on the other side. Should be this one here. All right, so this is dark red. I don't have red because I didn't have it. And as you can see here, I have two strong reds. So I must have received two strong reds instead of a red. So that is one of those issues. And back then I didn't know a whole lot. So I didn't bother contacting the company and telling them that I was missing a pencil, which is what I strongly suggest you do if you do find that you're missing a pencil. All right, now we're going to use a yellow. I think this one here is the brightest yellow, which is straight yellow. And then we're going to grab a blue. What color of blue do I want? Number 17. Let's make sure I don't already have it out. No, that's 18. The one thing I don't like about these little sleeves is it does make getting the pencils out very difficult. So this is royal blue. So I'm going to set the pencils to the side here, and we're going to flip this over, and we're going to test for our water testing as well as our smudge test. Now I'm just going to grab a brush, and hopefully it has some water in it. Of course, I should have done this beforehand, but I did not. This one has some water in it, so it will work just fine. Just bring the water down. There, that's better. All right. So we've got a water brush here, and I have brought the water down into the brush. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. So we're going to start with our red. Now, if I remember correctly, these do move with water. So if you do have a pencil that moves with water, please make sure that you use your Caran d'Ache blender or a white wax pencil to blend those colors together. The reason why I like the Caran d'Ache is because it does add a really good heavy layer of wax on top of our pencil and does create that water resistant seal. So that's one of the reasons why I like that that blender. And it blends all the colors together really, really pretty. Makes it really nice. And I do believe that they are currently on sale. I think somebody showed me a sale thing. It's not a huge sale, so it's not listed on my deals of the day, but if you take a look, you can probably find them on sale. I think they're cheaper at Jerry's Artorama though than on Amazon. All right, so we've got our yellow down. Now we're going to add our blue. And I'm coloring the same way I would on a picture. The reason why I'm doing the water test as well as the smudge test, as I've told you many, many times before, and you're probably tired of hearing it, is that when I want to add something like stickles or glitter gel pen, anything like that that is a water-based product, I want to make sure that I'm not going to move my color with that product. So that's why I do the swatch test as well as the water test. If it runs with water or moves with water, I'm not horribly put off by that, but I do like to know whether or not it's going to do that so that I can you know, do things differently so that I don't move it. All right, so I've got my water brush here, and we're just going to move. And as you can see, it definitely does move. And that's what I thought I remembered, was that they do move with water. and you can definitely tell that they are going to move. So definitely make sure that you, and you can tell from the end of the marker here, that the brush here, that it picked up some of that blue. So definitely make sure that you seal that with the Caran d'Ache blender before you use your water-based products on top of it. Now for the smudge test. If it moves with water, it's going to move with the oils in your hand. Just saying. So usually sometimes the smudge test is not a necessary test to do. If you find that your colors are going to move with your hand, more than likely they're going to move with water. However, sometimes the acids in our hands react differently with the pencil than water does. So doing the smudge test with a dry hand will give you the ability to tell whether or not the oils in your hand or the acids in your hand or all of those chemicals that are in our bodies is going to react to the pencil. I keep on brushing these off because they are a little dusty, and I don't want to grab dust with my finger and move that dust instead of the colored area. They're not horribly dusty, but it's always a good practice just to brush off your piece just to make sure that there's no crumbles or dust on your page. There's our yellow and then our blue. I did start a page on Saturday with these pencils. We will be coloring all week with them, so we will be doing an entire set of colorings with them because I have printed 2 pages on 1 page. They are the free pages from Allison Neal and with her little mushroom people, and they're just so cute. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to color at least 1 or 2 of every artist that we're featuring this month. So, all right, so I've got those all dusted off. Again, with my finger, I'm going to make sure it's dry because I touched the water pen. And as you can see, it's definitely moving that pigment. The blue, not so much, but the yellow and the red did move a little bit. All right, so we're going to do a 3-color blend here. So I'm going to take some, let's take our yellow that we have out. Let's do an orange blend. So we're going to take yellow, tangerine, and sun orange. And we're going to do a blend here. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do a highlight blend. So what that means is I'm going to color the shadow areas. And we're going to put a highlight here. And I'm going to get a little deeper here. So just putting another layer on top. These pencils do layer really, really well. So if, and the Nina cardstock accepts them beautifully. So now I am leaving a lighter area of this darker color so that I can move that lighter color into it. All right, and then we're going to take, so that was sun orange. That was our dark color. Now we're going to use tangerine. And I'm just going to blend right into that lighter area. And bring that out. Like so. Now I'm going to go darker on the medium area here. Just going to put down another layer, blending it into that darker area. Leaving the tail open for the yellow. All right. And then we'll take the yellow. Again, going into that darker area and bringing it out. Like so. And I think it did quite well with that. All of the colors blended seamlessly together. You don't see any harsh lines between the colors, which is fantastic. All right, so we're going to do our rainbow blend now. And we're going to do the rainbow blend the same way we normally do. So we're going to start with red. And we're going to color an area with our red. Just make sure that we put a bit of a tail there. Now, with the fact that we know that these do bleed a little bit, what I strongly suggest people do when they are blending colors together to create a new color, if you want the original colors to be on their own as well, like for example, I want the yellow to stand in between as well. So I'm going to start back here where I want the blue to blend in to make the green. And I'm going to come right up to the edge of here. I'm going to do this area here darker for our yellow area. And then I'm going to go into the red to create our orange area. And I'm going to blend those together. Now, if you feel that your orange is not orange enough, you can add a little bit more red and then add a little bit more yellow. Like so. Now, as you can see on the edge of my pencil, it has picked up that red. So that's why I say to start back here in the back of the area that you want to color with the light pencil, because it's going to pick up some of that red. I'm going to dust that off because we don't need it turning purple and we want it to turn green. And then we're going to come into it here with the blue, and we're going to come down here to do our blue line. And again, if you decide that you want that green to be lighter, you can just come back in with your yellow, start, and I've got a chunk of red stuck in there, hold on. And just add some yellow to it. The more yellow you add, the lighter the green is going to be. Then just add a little bit more blue. And there we have our rainbow. And it definitely did the rainbow. We have a red, an orange, a yellow, a green, and a blue. So it definitely did the rainbow. Now we're going to take some pink tones and we're going to use carmine, baby pink, and pink, light pink. There we go. And we're going to put these on here. I'm not going to put them all the way together, and I'm going to blend them together with a blender. So I've got carmine here, and this is going to be the edge color. And we're going to do it the same way as that. Now you're going to see a very distinct line because I am putting all of the color, the deepest part of the color, in one spot. I'm not going to feather it out. We're just going to build that. And then we're going to do our pink, and we're just going to go right up against it. We're not going to go over it. We're just going to go right up against it. And then we're going to take our light pink, and we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to go up against it. We're just going to go in between it here. All right. Now we're going to take our Caran d'Ache blender, maybe if I can find where I put it. There it is. So I've got the Caran d'Ache blender pencil here. This is the bright stick. You can use a regular pencil as well. Now I'm going to start in the light and I'm going to work it into the medium tone and then into the light tone, dark tone. And as you can probably see, even though it does remove the white spot, it does not blend those colors seamlessly together. So that is not going to work for that application. So now we're going to use the white to do the same thing and see if that will work as well. So again, I'm going to go with the darkest color, which is carmine. Now, the one thing about using white to blend, and I have said this many, many times, and I will say it many, many more times, when you're using white to blend, you will find that your colors are diminished. They're dulled down a little bit. So unless you have really, really, really bright colors that you're trying to blend, or really, really light colors that you're trying to blend, and you don't mind that white blending those down to a lighter tone, I would suggest that you don't use a white pencil. All right, and then the light one. Okay. Now we're going to start out here, and we're just going to blend that all together. And that did work a lot better to soften those lines and blend them together. So the difference between this and this, of course, this is going to be lighter because it is white, but you can't see the areas separation like you can here, where you can distinctly see where that line is. So it does work better to use your white to blend these pencils than the Caran d'Ache blender. Another way of doing it, of course, is to blend your pencils together as you do your coloring. All right, so all in all, I've always really enjoyed these pencils. I'm going to switch you over to the main screen here. So I've always really enjoyed these pencils. They work wonderfully on the Nina cardstock. This is the picture that we are currently working on, and we will work on it some more tonight in Monday Night Live. I would like to try to get this finished tonight during our live stream, and then we'll start on her on Wednesday. So by the end of the week, this page should be finished. Again, this is Allison Neal Designs. These are the two that she is giving away free. You can go into Saturday's video, and there are links below the video that give you access to her website to get the free downloads. These are her two free downloads. So I will try to remember to link those below the video, but if I forget, they are on Saturday's video. And that is what we will be continuing on tonight for Monday Night Live. So again, I said the regular cost of the pencils are $29.99. They are currently on sale for 17%, bringing 17% off, bringing them down to $24.99, which does work out to be approximately 21 cents a pencil. They do move with water. They do move with movement of your hand. So when you are finished coloring an area, I strongly suggest that you either burnish or you take a white Prismacolor or something that doesn't move the color and burnish that down so that you're not getting a lot of movement. My other go-to blender that I use, is it this one? No. Is the Derwent blender. I don't have one readily available here. I'm quite sure I have one in this mess of blenders and other assorted pencils. I just can't find it. But the one that I like to use the most for oil-based pencils, because sometimes the wax-based ones don't work very well, is the Derwent blender. And I think that would probably work quite well. If I remember correctly, that is what I usually use on these pencils. And I can't find it. It's not jumping out at me. I may have it in the drawer. I have a ton of them. I have them everywhere because literally I use them all the time. So, but I think I've moved them to another area. Let's see. Yeah, I think I have moved them to another area. The one thing that you don't want to use is a Prismacolor. Ah, there's one. Okay, so this is the Derwent, and I'm going to use it on this one up here, just to show you what the Derwent does. I'm going to switch you over to the close-up here. So we're going to take from the light into the dark. And we're just going over those edge lines and giving them a good blend, getting rid of the white spot as well as any blend lines that are there. So as you can see, the Derwent does work a whole lot better than the Caran d'Ache for these pencils. I'm going to go over the Caran d'Ache one and see if I can blend through the Caran d'Ache, which I can, but it's a little difficult. So if you do go over it with your Caran d'Ache, you may not be able to blend those together with another blender. Yeah, it didn't work out too well. But if you go over the white you can still blend a little better with the Derwent if you go over the white, which does brighten the colors up a little bit. Like so. All right, so yes, the Derwent blender would work better than the Caran d'Ache blender on these pencils. As I had found the Derwent blender before I started using the Caran d'Ache blender, it was my go-to, main go-to for a blender. I just like the way it blends. It doesn't lift off a lot of color, and it moves everything together. And I think that's because the reason why I prefer them is because I do prefer to work with oil-based pencils. So, all right, so back to the main screen here. So again, that is the ZenaColor 120 colored pencils. They are named, numbered, and marked with the ZenaColor 2 logo, with the color name here, the color number here. Now, I don't like it when they put the color name in the middle of the pencil because, yeah, we use our pencils. And by the time we get down to the end of our pencil, that color name's going to be gone. So when you mark your swatch charts, make sure that you put down the color name as well as the color number. Another thing that I have, a friend of mine has taught me to do, and I have started doing it, but I don't do it very often, and I really should, is put the color number at the end of your pencil. So that way, even if you sharpen it all the way down past here, which you know we do, you still have the color number of your pencil up on the end. This is Art Matters by Neil Gaiman. The illustrations are done by Chris Riddell. You may remember Chris Riddell is the creator of 100 Hugs, and I did the 100 Days of Hugs in 2021. And we started the Art Matters in 2022, and we are going to continue it until it's finished on every Monday, as long as I remember to do so. So we will be coloring this one. The page says if you don't know it, if you don't know it's impossible, it's easier to do. And because nobody's done it before, they haven't made up rules to stop anyone doing that again yet. So we have a rule maker here, and we are going to color him in. Now, we're going to utilize our skin tones, and we are going to blend as we go, because the paper in this book is a book. It's not a coloring book. So let's put in our shadow areas down here under his chin, because he's a grumpy fella and he has some grumpy lines going on. So let's get our grumpy lines here. As well as here where his glasses are. And it doesn't seem to have a lot of hair on the front part of his head, so we're going to get a bit of a shine up there. And then down here on his hands as well. Trying to make sure I stay in screen. I apologize. I finished off the video and I went, well, that's really short. Why is it so short? And it's like, well, because you didn't do Art Matters. So I will be editing this to add the Art Matters to the end of the video. Just saying. So if you're watching the video, watch it all the way to the end, because otherwise you're going to miss Art Matters. And I will edit, everything up. So we're just putting in those shadow areas on his fingers, around the binoculars, as well as under his jacket area there. Getting that shadow from his shirt and his jacket in there. And then we are going in with our skin tones, starting with our darkest one, which is sand brown. Again, going over top of that shadow color. And as you can see, the pencils do blend together quite nicely. You can, of course, blend them with as I said before, a Derwent blender. I did find that the Caran d'Ache blender does not work as well as the Derwent blender. These are an oil-based pencil, so that's sometimes that is normal. There are some oil-based pencils that do blend quite well with the Caran d'Ache, but some just don't, which kind of sucks because I like the Caran d'Ache, but I also like the Derwent for oil-based, so I'm not too put off by it. I do prefer the Caran d'Ache blender though, just because it does give you that element of brightness to your pictures and to your colors. Going to come down here on his hands, do our shadow areas, just bringing that color out and blending into that purple tone. Now you could, if you didn't want to put in that darker shadow, you could just use the darker peach tone and just work from there. Now we're going to go in with the next color, which is Peach Puff. And I'm covering most of his face with the Peach Puff. Now again, this is not a coloring book. This is a regular reading book. So you may find that your colored pencils don't layer very well. So you're only going to get one or two layers depending upon your pencils. I do find that the cheaper pencils do work better in this book than the more expensive pencils. All right. Okay. And then we are going to go in with our lightest color, which is apricot. And he's got a bit of a shine on the dome. On the tip of his nose and the little ball of his chin there. Alright, now we need black and gray. So I'm going to use black and light gray for the glasses here. I'm going to give him dark glasses. And then we're going to use the light gray for our light areas. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the binoculars. Oops. Oh, that's the first time that's happened in a while. I broke the pencil. So we're going to go in here and in here and then through here. And then we're going to take our black. And just going to build that color up. Now, as you know, when you color something with a dark color, if you color it with a light color first, that light color is going to come through the darker color and lighten up that darker color in the areas that you want that shadow area to be, or that brighter area to be. And that's why I put the gray where I did, because I want the highlight to be there. Alright, and then this area is black. And we're going to do the same thing over here, just a little bit more. So. Alright, and there we have our. Now we're going to do a little bit on his necktie here, because we're going to do his necktie black, because, you know, rule maker. It's in the rules. Alright, and then we're going to take our gray and we're going to do his shirt with some gray shadows. Not sure if he's wearing a lab coat or, but it looks like the jacket comes down right down from here. So. Then we're going to take our white. Like so. And then again with the gray here. And here. And the white. Like so. And do the buttons gray. And up here we're going to do a highlight here. of the gray because we're going to put a black suit on him. And then a highlight here. Sorry, didn't realize I was off screen. So the deeper that the gray is that you put down, the deeper the gray is going to show up through the black. So if you don't want it to show up really bright through the dark color, try to color it as lightly as possible. But if you want it to show up really bright through the color, lay it down quite thick. Alright, so, and I think I want some down here as well. Alright, now we're going to come in through here. And I'm going to press a little bit harder in those dark line areas. So those areas that I know are going to have a heavier shadow, I'm going to press a little bit harder. And then I'll lighten my hand up just so that the shadow doesn't overtake the whole garment. Alright, then we're going to come through here. Just going right over top of that gray, which will give it that highlight area. Like so. And I'm going to go darker in here. Where the jacket line is. The sleeve line. Same with down here. Just going to press a little bit harder. And then we're just going to lighten our hand up a little tiny bit and build that color right over top of the gray. Missed the gray there. Alright. Now in order to make this a darker jacket, if you want to make it darker, and you don't want to put a whole bunch of pressure on the page, you can also add some dark blue or some purple, which will darken that black up a little bit as well. I don't want it dark. I want it to look like clothing, and even though black clothing can be quite dark, it does have its limitations on how dark it gets. So we've got the binocular strap there, which we're going to do in a different color, just so it stands out. There's a lot of detail in these little tiny pictures, and Chris has drawn them and sketched them in with all of the shadows and everything else. So when you're coloring them, it does make it easier to make sure that you're getting the right depth of shadow and light and dark areas. Now I do have a piece of paper underneath the page because, as we know, the color does tend to, or the pressure of the pencil does tend to move the color off the back side of the page onto the page behind it. So it does cause some issues. Let's do his lapel here. And then down through here. Might as well finish this area here up. That's again the just going to move that color around. And this part here is darker, so we're going to push a little harder on it. This area here is darker as well. And so is this area here. And then we're just going to come back through here with a lighter touch and just fill it in. Same with up here. Now we're going to bring his sleeve down here, which is darker, and up here. Putting those shadow areas into his arm and his shoulder. And then we're just going to gradually build that color on top of it. I've already added the gray there, so building that color on top of it is quite simple. Right. And there is our stern rule maker. We're going to add some blue to the binoculars here, just in the glass area. And then we'll take the white, maybe, where did I put it? There it is. And we'll blend that in, like so. And then we're going to take some green. Let's take this one here. Let's take a little bit of light lime green, just because. Give them a little bit of fun. And we'll color the strap for the binoculars with a little bit of light lime green. Now our rule book we're going to color in red, so we're going to grab the dark red. So we've got some books here. The rule book is going to be red. So I'm just doing the edges with a heavier hand. And then I'm just going to lighten up my hand and color in the rule book. Now we've got a heavy red line down here for the back side of the book, and some yellow in here for the pages. And we're going to do that one with our green, just because. And then we've got some brown in the background there. So let's use khaki for the. Now I don't know if those books, or that may be a bookshelf behind him. So I'm just going to do the wall behind it there. With the khaki. Sorry, I'm paying attention to the dog because she's wandering around, which she doesn't normally do. And she's stressing me out. Alright, so we've got a blue book, we've got a pink book, and we've got a yellow book. And we've got a black book. And we've got a red book. And then we've got a green book in the background there, like so. Then we're going to take our gray. We're going to come up in here and let's do sepia. And what's this one? Camel. Sepia and camel for that shelf above there. And then we are going to switch over to the main camera here, because our little rule maker is all finished up. And again, it says if you don't know it's impossible, it's easier to do. And because nobody's done it before, they haven't made up rules to stop anyone doing that again yet. So there is our rule maker. Again, I will be adding this to the swatch or the test video for our ZenaColor colored pencils. This was colored with our ZenaColor. And of course, we will be doing this again on next Monday. Again, I will, of course, see you this evening for our Monday Night Live. All right, guys. All right, guys. With that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope that this has been educational, informational about the ZenaColor 120 oil-based colored pencils. They are a U.S. company. These pencils, the ZenaColor Corporation is a U.S. company. The pencils themselves, I do believe, are manufactured in China. With that, I'd like to say always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And always, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye bye for now.